thanks for watching. This is Linda Bartolucci with Ink, Stamp, and Scrap. And today I wanted to show you a few quick tips about using the black Stazon or any color Stazon pad. I use the black Stazon pad quite a bit. It sets up nicely on our Whisper White and Very Vanilla cardstock. It's also great for watercoloring or coloring with your markers. You're sure that the ink is not going to smudge and it's going to dry quickly. So before I open the ink pad and show you my first quick tip, I wanted to tell you that you definitely need, you have to use a different re-inker. You can't use our basic black on this pad. We have a Stazon re-inking bottle that I highly recommend you get when you get the ink pad, only because this does dry rather quickly and a few drops just makes it so everything's nice and crisp every time you use it. And the other thing you're going to want to get is our Stazon all-purpose cleaner. This is the way that your stamps are going to stay fresh and clean, because the Stazon ink is designed to stay on anything, and that includes your stamp. So if you don't use the cleaner designed to get it off, your stamp is always going to have a residue of the Stazon ink. So let me show you, when you open up your Stazon ink pad, here's my first tip. You have this case here. You can see I've used this ink pad quite a bit. The problem is I don't like to get my fingers all inky, and I don't want to put rubber gloves on every single time I decide I want to stamp with Stazon. So what I do is, when I get a new Stazon pad, I take dimensionals and I put 4 of them on, actually I put 8 of them on my ink pad. So 1, 2. Alright, now that I have all 8 of the dimensionals on, I'm going to take the top, and I've taken all the film off, so these are really sticky, and I'm going to put the top back on. And I'm going to push down. So instead of having to use my fingers to pull off that case, and it is important to have that plastic case on there because it does keep the ink in the pad and keeps it from drying out as quickly. But now I have the case, it's lined up, it's going to stay there, and I don't have to touch it and get ink on my fingers. So that's my first tip for using this. Every time I use my Stazon pad, I re-ink it with just a couple of drops of ink, strategically placed. It takes a second or two for them to soak in. So what I do is I just move them around with the tip of the ink bottle and just rub them in there. And then when I go to stamp with the first image, I let the stamp do a little work for me as well. So this is the mummy from Googly Ghouls, and I'm going to rub it around. Not that I need to ink it up that much in order to get a nice image, but I'm just going to finish the re-inking process and let the stamp itself push the rest of the ink in so that the ink pad's nice and juicy and ready to go. And now when I take, using a piece of Very Vanilla so it comes up against the white, there you go. I have a beautiful image, nice and crisp, just how I like it. Now I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to use my Stazon cleaner. It's got a foam pad right there, and you actually apply the cleaner right to the stamp. And you can see it's a little bit oily, it kind of glistens. And then you're just going to use your regular Stampin' Up! Cleaner. I've got the wet side here and the dry side over here, so I'm going to use the wet side, use the dry side, and now you can see there's no ink left. If I had done that without the solvent, there would be plenty of ink left on my stamp, and even with regular Stampin' Mist, that would have been the case. So I hope these 2 tips help you to use our Stazon pads easier and cleanly, and thank you very much for watching.